Many people consume caffeine daily and have felt its effects, but very few of those people know what is actually taking place in the brain when caffeine is consumed. Now, with a substance being consumed so regularly, I think that it is a very good idea, a very wise idea, for us to know what is taking place when caffeine is consumed. Not only have I consumed caffeine and witnessed its effects very regularly, most of us have, but I have done the research to find out what actually happens in the brain when caffeine is consumed. Now, why should we care that caffeine has many effects on the brain? According to Nylig, the author of the book Coffee, Tea, Chocolate, and the Brain, caffeine is the most widely used psychoactive substance. Now, psychoactive substance is a substance that alters the way the brain works. It alters the way it naturally is. Now, caffeine is very widely used and it is psychoactive. So I believe that it is foolish to not fully understand, or at least have a basic knowledge, of what is actually going on when you consume caffeine. And a report that many people say, or the reason why they consume caffeine, is because it gives them energy. However, this might not be true. These effects are not exactly what people think they are when they experience them. According to the team behind Caffeine in the Brain, with special reference to factors that contribute to its widespread use, caffeine does not give you energy. Now, you may be confused. The main reason people use caffeine is for energy, but I will explain what happens. In the brain, you have special receptors called adenosine receptors that are specifically made for a molecule known as adenosine. Now, adenosine is the molecule that lets your body know that you're tired. But caffeine is very similar to the adenosine molecule. So when you consume caffeine, it attaches to those receptors and blocks them, which keeps you from taking in the adenosine receptors. So it doesn't give you energy, but it pushes away the tiredness. A prolonged use of this, you build more adenosine receptors, which is why you have to consume more caffeine, because you build a tolerance to it. Nevertheless, we cannot conclude whether the effects are altogether positive or altogether negative. According to the team behind the video, Your Brain on Coffee, caffeine isn't bad in moderation. Like, many people think that prolonged use of caffeine is bad. It really just depends on how you look at it. Test subjects who were on caffeine excelled at the math part, while people who were off caffeine didn't do as great. Finally, the psychoactive drug known as caffeine has multiple effects on the human brain, and it has been discovered that the consumption of caffeine has many beneficial effects for not only the brain, but the body as well, despite a popular idea that caffeine is bad for you. Despite the stigma, used in moderation, caffeine can be very useful. Thanks for listening.